what is the real price of products? That's what we were talking about off camera. And I think that this whole tariff thing is really starting to make people question everything. Like you see China, and what's popular now is furniture, and they're showing in furniture, they're showing furniture, and they're showing like handbags and clothing items, how much they actually cost to make and how much they're actually selling for in China, and it's pretty eye opening to say the least,
Mm-hmm.
right? So then it's like, okay, well, if I can get a kitchen, closet, bathroom, whatever, for 1/10 of the cost of America, right? Now you start to say, okay, well, what is the real price of a variety of different things in society? We know that, okay, Jordans are inflated and handbags are inflated, but nobody really ever asks the question of like how much does a car really cost?
Mm-hmm.
And what's the real market value of a car, right? Because that's what China's really doing, is like they're starting to make you question the whole capitalistic society that we live in America, where there's no guardrails, and greed has just led to such an markup on prices. It's almost unsustainable,
For sure.
while wages have stayed the same, right? Inflation goes up while wages have stayed the same. And nobody really questions it because we don't really have any alternatives. What are you going to do? Not
Mm.
buy a car? What are you going to do? Not live in a house? What are you going to do? Not buy this laptop, right? But when you start to actually peel back the layers, now you start to see things and you start to say, damn, this makes you re-question everything, right? It makes you re-question, like, why am I paying $100,000 for a car? Why am I
Insane.
why am I paying $120,000 for my bathroom? Why am I paying $10,000? Even like the luxury items, like a bag, that's a choice. But some things are just like hard costs. Like you don't think about like that stuff like that, right? And
Yeah.
it's like, wait a minute, like has capitalism run amok to the point where it has to be railed in with some level of high transparency, alternatives, and guardrails? That's what China's really saying. Like, look, yes, we have a society that's built on communism, and you say that communism is so bad, but we raised more people out of poverty in the last 30 years in human history.
Yeah.
Based on collective, even Charlie Munger, he had a great speech I saw on TikTok where he was saying that China did something that's really never been done in world history, where they built their country's economy in a very short period of time by collective like savings. It
Mm-hmm.
wasn't done through oligarchs, and it wasn't done through, industry. It was done through millions of poor people truly believing in the system, collectively saving, pulling their money together and moving up. And he was saying that that was something that he in his opinion had never really been done. It kind of was a new model in society. But
Mm-hmm.
I think that we talk about stocks a lot, but you got to start to talk about the whole entire economic system. And is this something that is not sustainable?
It's broken for sure.
Mhm.
It's broken. We were talking offline, but like there are cars 6 years ago that were $30,000 or $40,000 that are now 110. Like back in the day, $100,000 car was a super luxury car. Now there's some sedans that are going for 80 and 90,000. We've talked about the cost of living, that's high, cost of daycare, cost of education. While the return on college education for many specialties have declined dramatically. And also, too, if we're going to pay a 200% increase over 5 years, I don't see a 200% increase in the level of care, whether it's in hospitals or daycare or education or just even in the products. And given this tariff situation, and this economic calamity that we're in, I think it is going to cause everyone to look and see what can we do better, for
Mhm.
sure.
Yeah, part of it, how much of it is the belief system, like we were kind of talking about. Right, it's just a belief that we believe is worth that. So if you're looking at the Rolls Royce, or you're looking at high end Mercedes, or you're looking at a Lexus, do you believe it's that value, and that's the price they're going to put on it, right?
Do we believe a Rolls Royce Cullinan or Ghost Spectre is worth $600,000?
Somebody's going to pay it.
Well, I think it's the luxury item. Yeah, because even like Birkin, even though people know Birkin now technically should cost $1,100, they're still going to pay whatever for it because those people can afford luxury items. I think are different from essential items. essential items is like a microwave, right? Like we don't really have a choice but to buy a microwave. Nobody's really buying luxury microwaves, right? But let's just say hypothetically, the price that we're paying for, let's say the price that we're paying for a microwave is a
We'll,
90.
we'll check back in 6 months.
Troy, for
We'll
real.
check back with them in 6 months.
No, I'm just saying for the most part.
I know what you're saying.
At
Nobody's
scale,
going,
I get you.
yeah, we're not going
Yeah.
to Louis Vuitton. Yeah, of course there are high-end microwaves, but for the most part,
Yeah.
you're going to go to Walmart, you're going to go to Target. The average American is not looking at a microwave as a luxury item. It's looking at like it's an essential item that you need to warm up food.
Mhm.
Right.
Yeah.
But what if we realize that these microwaves, and I'm just saying hypothetically, I haven't done the research, but what if we realize these microwaves are actually 90% markup?
Mhm.
Right. That
Mhm.
makes you question, like, damn, we're getting taken advantage of things. Like you can choose to buy Louis Vuitton. You can't really choose to buy a variety of other things that you just have to have. And if everything in society is marked up, well, that could lead to a rebellion.
If the prices have gone up exorbitantly, and you know, it's bad when business owners are saying, okay, these markups are too much on both sides of the aisle and in all industries. It's like the pricing scales have changed too much where it's unsustainable as a country. And then, of course, that leads to record credit card debt, which is not being talked about enough. So yeah, I think it changes
Foreclosures.
for sure.
Is that a solution though? If you in terms of gauging, is there a threshold that potentially could be put in place where it's like you can't go over this threshold, you can't put a 98% markup? Because in terms of business, right, when you think about hypothetically what is business, you're going to have a product, you're going to put a surcharge on it because you had to produce that product at a certain number, you want to make a profit
For sure.
but is there, or do we need to come up with one that makes sense for an economy so that there isn't a revolution, really?
I mean, I think that's where regulation comes in. And I'm not like the hugest person on being like regulate everything down to where it's like you only make 20% profit margin. But I think even some of the essential items have now been priced as luxuries. So, and I think it'll get so bad where if you don't morally start to give back, i.e., Target, you're going to get shellacked in the market. I don't know how your little meeting with Al Sharpton went, but as a community, we're upset. You better fix something. Are you going to be running off the stock market like Xander just did in the background? So I think some changes need to be made for sure, because like no one wants to say it, but the country is collapsing at scale and in many areas. And for the first time in our lifetimes, other countries look like a better alternative to shop from and live in.
And it's not a democracy. And that's the thing
No.
that people fully need to understand too. America does a great job with marketing, and words are important. When you hear the term oligarchs, you think of Russia and you think of a repressive regime that's a few people are ruling, and that's not fair. When you think of the royal family, the Saudi royal family, you think of the same thing. You think of billionaires that have the say over the people and the people have no rights. Well, what do you think we have in America? Right?
The
When you
Forbes
got
400.
when you got 9 of the 10 richest people in the world that live in America that have firsthand access with the government, with the president, they might not have the title of a royal family. They might not have the title of an oligarch. That's exactly what they are.
Absolutely. Like we witnessed in real time. And this happened in the Democratic Party, but it looked like the White House or parts of it were up for sale.
Perhaps, allegedly.
Allegedly.
Right.
And it says one republic, not one democracy.
So you said the economy is collapsing. How much of it is, because it feels very self-inflicted.
For sure.
How much weight do you put on that? Like who's in charge and the decisions that have been made over the past 3 to 4 months, right?
MAGA supporters, clip this up. I know he gets a lot of blame, but I think he put the final stick on top of the stack that broke the camel's back. America's been on the house of cards for a long period of time. And this is why one of the reasons we can't afford a recession, because it then unveils a lot of unscrupulous activities in a bunch of industries at one time. So this is just the first of the propaganda pushback from China, but I think what a lot of countries, they'll probably follow suit, but then it'll start to be revealed what healthcare costs are in other places. I know a lot of people that are traveling to other countries now for dental and
knee surgeries.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
it's a lot more efficient too. Like even in Japan, like the healthcare regime, there are people that are traveling there 2 weeks and getting all their labs, all their blood work done. And now with AI being added into, I saw that report where like there could be a cure for all major illnesses within the next 20 years. But the fight is what country would get the patents to those cures.
Mhm.
We're in interesting time. And more than anything, I think America as a country has been too short-sighted because of the 4-year cycle. Just like the 3-month reporting cycle in the stock market, I think it's a mistake. Focusing 4 years on a time on how to run a country, it does not lead to long-term planning because other countries are thinking 100 years at a time minimum.
Yeah. All those like how long has this guy been in presidency?
Which one?
China. He's been there forever.
See, I'll get it to you right now.
Feel
been a
like it.
while.
Feels like it.
And how long has Putin been there?
Netanyahu's been there for like 27 years. How is this democracy? Like he hasn't left yet.
Well, the people have voted him back in time and time again, right, Rashad? Same with Putin.
Putin 99%
relevancy score.
Allegedly.
Yeah.
He's been there since 2013.
Who's this? China?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's 12 years.
Yep.
You need 10 years to really make some change. Like you said, 4 years, because what happens after 2 years, especially in America, 2 years, they start running the new cycle.
You got to campaign again.
You're really only president for 2 years to really get everything that you need done, because then you got the midterm elections.
Mm-hmm.
And usually it's going to be an opposite party that comes in after midterms.
Then it's going to become
so you
more
got
difficult.
You got 24 months to try to get things done
and make a bunch of executive orders.
And that's why nothing gets done.